we're back with some more Six Nations stats for you. So this is covering the first 3 rounds together amalgamated. So it means that things like possession and territory will be averaged out over each one to show how the teams are doing with that. Then other stats will be basically added up from the 3 games, and then when we have percentages for those, it's going to be worked out on the total number of attempts and the total number of successes, and then that gives us the percentage. Okay, so we're going to start with possession. So top of the possession stats are Italy 52.7, showing how much they are trying to hold onto the ball more this year compared to other years. Whether that's going to bring them success against Wales, we'll have to see. They are, I would say, the favourites for that game, and they probably are going to have to hold on to a lot of the ball to do that in that game as well. Next, we have Ireland of 52%. So Ireland, tend to want to hold onto the ball a bit more than their opposition. England next on 51.3, Wales on 49.7, Scotland on 49.3, and France at 45.0. So France happy enough for the opposition to have more ball, relying on the fact that when they get a chance, they're better than probably any of the other teams. They're able to break and they're able to create chances and take those chances as well. I think in terms of breaking from deep, France are probably the best team in the Six Nations at that. And also Scotland there on 49.3. We've seen that they are very very clinical when they get into the red zone. Not so much against France, but in their other games they were. So if they can return to that against Ireland, they could cause a bit of an upset there, though these are 2 great teams playing each other. So, Ireland aren't red hot favourites or anything, I don't think. Onto territory then. England top of the table there with 61.7% for them. So they love playing the opposition half. They obviously kick a lot of ball as well. We see that later to get themselves in that position. Next is Ireland with 59.0. Ireland tend to get into your territory and then stay there and go through their phases and, basically stretch your defence until they find a gap and then break. Scotland next with 47.3. So Scotland are the team that kick a lot to try and get into your territory, but they're happy enough as well that they can get into that red zone and they can score more often than not. Wales next with 45, France with 44.3, and Italy with 42.7. And that's something I think with Italy is, I think they probably need to develop their kicking game a bit more to get more territory, because we've seen that, they can hold on to the ball. And if they're holding on to the ball in their half, it's very different than holding on to the ball in your half. So if they can find some way to get more territory, it could mean that they will get that, at least one win in the final 2 rounds. Next, then we have Rooks. So in terms of Rooks 1, top of the table, we have Ireland with 333. Next, then is Wales 305. So not bad there for Wales. It's rare we're seeing them near the top of any of the stats, really. Any of the positive ones, at least. Next is England with 288, Italy 284, Scotland 229, and France down the bottom with 213. Percentage-wise, then, Ireland lead the way, 97.1. We can see from Ireland's style like that, winning those rucks and winning quick ball is very much a key point to how good they are at the moment. Getting that quick ball out and then being able to pick holes in your defence. That's what Ireland do. Scotland next with 96.2. Really good from them as well. Again, a team that when they get in position, like to kind of find those holes and attack you quickly. So they want that quick ball, get it to Finn and let him work his magic. England next with 96%, Wales 95.3, as well as Italy 95.3, and France 95.1. So France not looking after their own ball as well as the others. But France, we have seen them, they're very good at targeting your ball, where they'll pick a time to flood people into the breakdown and win vital turnovers. Next, then we have mauls. So Ireland have mauled the most, 27 successes for them. Next is Scotland. Then we have Scotland 22, England 14, France 13, Wales 11, and Italy 9. So Ireland winning 3 times as many mauls as Italy. Ireland is just another string to the bow, really. It's another part of the game where they can attack you from. We haven't seen, that many in terms of close to the line and driving over and stuff, but it's something that they do have there if they want. Italy, we saw struggle very much against England, both attacking and defending with the maul. In terms of maul percentage, then Ireland at 96.4. So if Ireland get a maul close to your line, it's not guaranteed that they're going to score from it, but they're going to get maybe stress your defence so much that it will lead to a score. Scotland next with 95.7, so really good from them too. France 92.9, England 87.5. They did have like that one game against Italy where they were on fire with the maul, but against Wales didn't do so well. So that's why they're not as high as you might expect them to be. Italy with 75%, and then Wales at the bottom with 73.3. So we've seen Italy struggle a lot with the maul, but Wales so far have been even worse. So it's going to be interesting to see who gets on top between those two when they meet at the weekend. Next, then we're into set piece. So we have scrums. So Italy have won the most scrums. Next then is with 18, England 15, Ireland 14, Wales 12, Scotland 11, and France 9. So Italy topping that stat there. Just the fact that I think a lot of it is to do with the way Italy are playing and the way they defend as well, means that we end up with a lot of scrums in their games. Either they're knocking on or they're forcing knock-ons from the opposition. When we look at the stats, though, we see that France are actually the top in terms of the success from the scrums. So 90% for them, which is really good. They've only lost one scrum so far this Six Nations. Let's see, will that continue, though, when they take on England, because England are the next most successful scrum at 78.9. You have Italy 78.3, Ireland 77.8, Wales 66.7, Scotland 64.7. So Ireland there, down in the bottom 3 there. Scrum not doing that well. Scotland not doing that well either. So that's another kind of area to maybe look out for at the weekend. Of those two, who's actually going to get on top in the scrum, and it could be about kind of winning those early scrums and getting into the referee's head that your scrum is actually dominant, and therefore even when it's your fault that the scrum collapses, that maybe your opponents get penalised. Next into lineouts, then another one where Italy are leading the way. So they've won 47 lineouts. Next is Scotland 45, then England 39, Ireland 34, Wales 29, and France 28. So in terms of percentage wise, Italy win this one at 94. And it's another reason why I don't know why Italy don't kick more, because they've got such a good line out. Even if they're like the opposition have to throw, then they've got such a good line out, they can get up there and disrupt, or they could maybe nick the ball off them. And then also with kicking, obviously you have the option of a 50-22. If they're kicking more, there's more chance of getting 50-22. Suddenly they're in good position, and then that passing game or that running game really comes to the fore for them. Next we have Scotland at 93.8. That's going to be maybe an area where They're going to look to get on top of Ireland there as well. England on 92.9, Ireland 89.5. Not too shabby, but they would like to see that a little bit higher, especially when they get into those attacking areas and making sure that the ball finds jumper when they're kind of within kind of 5 meters or wherever. France next then 87.5, and Wales then the bottom 80.6. So again, another area that Wales need to improve on. And then when you think about like the Welsh line out, like obviously you got Ken Owens throwing in, you've got Adam Beard and Alwyn Jones as your second row, and then Tulupe Faletau maybe as a back row jumper. And that's basically like the old guard, like Beard a bit younger than the others, but still it's the old guard, and maybe some fresh people in there could help them with that. But I think Gatlin is kind of between two stools at the moment on what he actually wants to do with his team. Next, then we have clean breaks. So Ireland topped that with 22. Next is Scotland, 19, France, 18, Italy, 15, England, 14, and Wales, 11. So, Ireland being able to, I think, stress those defences and find those gaps and get people through them has been a big part of why they sit at the top of the table at the moment, and they also, have gotten a bonus point try in each of their games so far as well. Scotland, though, not far behind. Finn Russell, he loves to make a break himself. He loves to put people through. You also have the likes of Duan van der Merwe and Hugh Jones and Tuipulotu there as well, who can all find space themselves and create breaks. Next, then we have defenders beaten. So France topped that one with 97. And we think of the types of players they have. It's no surprise really that they're on the top. Like they're always very elusive. Next is Italy, 83. And again, if Italy are in a better part of the field, these numbers, these very positive numbers that they have, are going to end with more scores and better chances to win the game as well. Scotland next was 79, then Ireland 74, England 59, and Wales with a paltry 46. Like that's not even half of France's number for them. So you can just see, you can, looking at the table tells you one kind of story that like Wales and Italy are very close to each other. But when we look at the stats, you can see that it's not very true. Wales are well behind everyone else, and they will have to really step up if they're going to beat Italy at the weekend. On to the players then. So player with the most broken tackles is Duhan van der Merwe with 21. Then Ange Capuozzo with 20, Damien Penaud 19, Ethan Dumortier 18, Gael Fickou 13, and Hugh Jones 11. So like Van der Merwe leading the way there. I think for 2 rounds, he was the player with the most broken tackles. France kept them very quiet when Scotland went to Paris. It seemed like they targeted him, and anytime that he got the ball, someone was there to hit him straight away, so he couldn't build up any momentum. Because once that guy gets a run at you, we saw against England, he's got a step as well, but he can fend you off, he can run over you, or he can accept the tackle and then offload to someone else and create a score. And then Capuozzo, he's had up to now an amazing tournament. Unfortunately, it's over because he has a shoulder injury that is going to keep him out of the final 2 rounds. But he did really well, and there was no second season syndrome for him. World Breakthrough Player of the Year last year, and backed it up again this year as well. Ethan Dumortier, talking about breakthroughs, like that guy's having a fantastic tournament for France as well. On to then offload. So France top of the table there with 28. Wales next with 25. So at least something positive for Wales there. Italy next 19, Ireland 18, Scotland 16, and England 14. In terms of what players are in the offloading, then you have Finn Russell at the top there with 6. Next is Gael Fickou 5, Anton Dupont 5, Capuozzo 4, Mac Hansen 4, Van Poortvliet 4, Farrell and Faletau 4 as well. So Finn Russell, another guy who's having a fantastic tournament. I think if Scotland end up winning the whole thing, he's almost certainly going to be player of the tournament. Even if they don't, he has to be in that conversation. He's playing so well. But one thing about that is, I think it's going to be something to watch out for at the weekend, and that is Finn Russell and James Lowe. So James Lowe, if you watch him, the way he's played in the first 3 rounds, he's always sniffing for an intercept. And you have Russell there, who obviously loves to give the long passes and to offload as well. Like Russell has almost 40% of Scotland's offloads just by himself. So I have a feeling that it's going to go one way or the other, that either Russell is going to bait Lowe in to go for an intercept and catch him out of position that way and put someone through to potentially score a try for Scotland, or Lowe is going to pick him off and score an intercept try. I think one of those two is very likely to happen. We might even get both at the weekend, but it's something to keep an eye on, the dynamic between them two as well there. On to then turnovers conceded. We have England at the top with 45, Italy next 41, Scotland 37, France 33, Wales 33, and Ireland 31. So one good thing about Wales, and it is kind of showing a little bit of improvement from them, is their ball security, that they're not conceding that many turnovers. I was surprised about England's being so high there, because they often look like they're in control when they've got the ball. But I guess it's part of the growth that they still have to do, is to cut those kind of mistakes out. In terms of players, then Finn Russell has 8. Another reason why I think that Lowe might target him to try and intercept or dive on a loose ball and potentially score. Next is Van Poortvliet 7, Dombrandt 7, Pinot 6, and Max Malin 6. So England there with like 3 in the top 5 players there. You can see that it's not just one player causing the problems for them in terms of turnovers. It's across the team. But part of that can be when you're trying stuff out, you're going to make mistakes. If you think back to Ireland in the early days of Farrell being in charge there, it's the same kind of thing for them as well. People were wondering, what's going on here. They look like they're worse than they were under Joe Schmidt. But it's all part of the bedding in process. And we need to remember about England and Wales that, they've got coaches who are only in there for 3 games, albeit that Gatland is coming back, but it's still not the same Wales team that Gatland has come back to. Next, we have kicks from hand. So England lead the way with 105. Next is Scotland on 92, Ireland 91, France 88, Wales 84, and Italy with only 68. And again, if they could add that kicking game, I think that Italy would be, they're doing really well now, but I think they would be a whole new prospect or proposition for teams to face if they had a decent kicking game as well, because then you keep the opposition guessing and you have that ability to play in their half and also potential for 50-22s as well. In terms of individuals, then meters kicked, Finn Russell leads the way, 1,368. That's a whole, more than 300 ahead of Anton Dupont, with the only other person over 1,000 with 1,052. Then we have Jack Van Poortvliet, Owen Farrell, Thomas Williams, Thomas Ramos, and James Lowe is the leading Irishman there. So you can see that, like with Scotland, so much of the go forward relies on Finn Russell, and that's why a lot of teams kind of target him, because other teams, they'll have other players around the pitch who can contribute. Now, Scotland do have Hogg as well, who's got a good boot on him too, but still, if you shut Russell down, you can probably shut Scotland down. But he's such a maverick. It's very hard to, what's your plan to shutting him down? Because if you try to keep tying him, he's going to make a fool of you. And if you stand off him, he's going to get his team into your half as well. So it's really hard to deal with someone like that. Next, then we have meters run. So Ireland at the top with 1,635. Next is France with 1,476. Scotland 1,282. Italy 1,254. England 1,234. And Wales just scraping over 1,000 with 1,083. So you can see, like, again, Wales a good bit behind the others, and lots of ground for them to make up, lots of meters to make up there. In terms of individuals, then got Hugo Keenan, 416, another guy who's got to be in the conversation for player of the tournament, I think. James Lowe, 339, then Ramos with 317, Capuozzo 202, Russell with 276, and Van der Merwe with 275. So a lot of really decent go forward there from those players. Next, then, just run totals. Ireland with 445, Italy with 401, England 399, Wales 395, Scotland 345, and France with 341. So France not making that many runs, but I've got a new stat here for you, which is meters per run, and you see that France are actually top there with 4.33. So every time a French player runs, they're averaging that much of go forward. Next is Scotland, 3.72, Ireland 3.67, Italy 3.13, England 3.09, and Wales 2.74. So Wales almost have to do 2 runs to make as much ground as France do 1. And again, that just speaks to the difference in where those 2 teams are at the moment. Next, then, in terms of the players carrying, so Finn Russell has the most carries with 45, then Caelan Doris 41, Sebastian Necri 41 as well, Hugo Keenan and Ellis Ginge 38 each. Now, in terms of the players for meters per run, Lewis Rees-Zammit tops it with 15.75. Next to James Lowe, Pettinelli, Jalabert, Kinghorn, Pinot, Dyer, and Van der Merwe. So that is kind of in total. But then I also have another one that you might find a little bit more interesting, which is meters per run, but it's for 10 or more carries. So like Rees-Zammit only had 8 carries, Pettinelli and Jalabert only 3 each. So this next one is players who've done at least 10 runs. So James Lowe is top then with 14.75. Next is Kinghorn. We have Pernod, Dyer, Van der Merwe, Keenan, and Hugh Jones. So a lot of the players that we've seen kind of performing well and making breaks are up there. Next on to passes. So Italy passing the most with 589 passes. Next is Ireland, 562. Wales, 531. So they are throwing the ball around. They're just not really making much of it when they do. England 482, Scotland 460, and France 420. France seem like they pass a lot, but obviously by that stat they don't. But again, I think they're really good at picking the times when they pass, when they kick, when they run. I think they're probably, out of any of the teams, the best at being able to choose when to use each one of those. In terms of individual sense, Stephen Varney with the most passes, 209. Next is Van Poortvliet, 197. Williams, 196. Anton Dupont, 182. Ben White and Conor Murray in there as well, in the top 6. On to tackles. So in terms of tackles made, France have made the most tackles so far with 555. Next is Scotland, 505. Then Wales, 482. England, 444. Italy, 418. And Ireland, 411. So Italy and Ireland not having to make as many tackles, which means that the players should be fresher, in terms of other things that they need to do. Then missed tackles. So England lead the way with 84, then Wales 83, Ireland 79. So that's an area where Ireland definitely need to work on, and somewhere where Scotland will almost certainly target. Italy next was 76, Scotland with France was 61, and then Scotland with 55. So Scotland, when we look at tackle percentage, are the best tacklers so far, 90.2. France very close with 90.1. Then Wales 85.3. Italy 84.6. England 84.1. And Ireland at the bottom 83.9. So, with Ireland, tackle percentage isn't that great. So it means that you can find gaps in their defence. I think something that Ireland have done really well so far is to scramble defence. But if someone can beat that scramble, they're probably going to score. And if you're looking at the likes of Van der Merwe getting in behind Ireland, he probably is going to be able to hold off a one or two scramblers to get himself over the line. In terms of individuals, then the overall tacklers, we have Flamand is top there with 58. Then Matt Fagerson with 56. Fagerson, I think, was top tackler in 2 or 3 games, like over the round. Then Jalanche and Marchand and Itoje actually all in 48. Olivon with 46. So Itoje, he's there in the top 5. He didn't get into my tackling team because Flamand plays in the same position as him. So he's just a bit unlucky that there's another fantastic tackler playing the same position as him. Next, then on to dominant tackles. So Danilo Fischetti with 8 for Italy. That guy really is, turning into something special for them. Next is Lewis Loveland with 6. Itoje, Ken Owens, Justin Tipperick, and Ben Curry all with 5. Missed tackles then. Finn Russell at the top there with 10. So, there is a reason why people target him in defence. Next is Anthony Jalanche with 9, Nick Terra with 9 as well, Kyle Stain 9, Owen Farrell 9, and Joe Hawkins 9. So Farrell, you always think of him as being a tough tackler, but he has missed a few tackles as well. But again, like almost every team will attack to 10. So himself and Russell, although they do have high numbers, is probably because they're being forced, to accept more runners at them and being in more vulnerable positions when they're tackling as well. On to then our last set of stats, which is penalties. So Wales have given away the most penalties, 41. So it's kind of a almost chicken and egg thing, right? Can they improve their performance by improving, improving their discipline, or will an improved performance lead to improved discipline for them? They've got to do probably both, though, if they're going to, avoid the wooden spoon this year. Next is France with 35, Ireland 31, Italy also 31, Scotland 29, and England 23. So that number for England is really good. Like, it means that they can kind of stay in games. So now they're like the next 2 rounds, they have France and Ireland, which are 2 big games for them. But if they're not giving away that many penalties, it means that they're almost, almost giving themselves a chance to just hang on to the coattails if they are behind, and then possibly being able to produce something to come over the top there. In terms of players then, Andrew Porter has given away 7 penalties. I think he gave away 6 in 1 game. Next is Fischetti with 6. Then Faletau, Willemse, Ritchie, and Olivon all on 5. Okay, so that is the end of that stats one. I hope you enjoyed that one. It took a long time to put those together, but it was still fun to look in and just kind of, it's always nice when you look into stats and you kind of surprise yourself, even when you've been looking at the numbers for weeks. It's good just to find something interesting in there. I will have another stats video next week as well for the 4 rounds. Or for the 4th round, sorry, and then we'll probably do another one like this after the tournament is over, covering all 5 rounds, so we can see, where things have changed in terms of the overall when everybody's had a chance to play everyone else. But I will have a video about the Six Nations news, probably out either Wednesday or Thursday, and then Thursday night or Friday, depending on when teams come out, I will have individual previews of each of the games as well. And I'll probably have a shorter overall preview of the, looking more at the state of the table, and then just kind of shorter versions of the previews of each of the games as well. So look out for those, and see you on the next video.